Welcome back, Raiders, to another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in this one we're going to be talking about the new mythical champion, and so maybe we'll talk about the other orc as well. But this is a champion that I've been wanting to be in Raid for the longest time. I've always talked about it. People always laughed and said, "Oh, it's not a meta thing. That's never going to be really good." I've been showing my Leo, and people were like, "Damn, that's actually pretty good." But then player him, I don't know, maybe someone, hit them up or something. I don't know. Maybe someone's lurking during my streams and snitching to the, I don't know, and letting them know that it's valuable. But we have Miss Joan The Luminant. What's up, X-King? How you doing? Joan The Luminant, and we're going to be talking about her skill kit and how insane this champion is. I don't even need to own the champion, and when I saw the kit, I was like mind blown. Mind freaking blown. Okay. Let's look at her stats here. 22,635 HP, which is pretty good because she's not an HP champion, so that's pretty good. Most champions are going to be around, supports are going to be around like 19 to 22,000 HP, so she's on the higher end, which is good. In terms of defense, she's at 1387, which is very high. Right, she's not a defensive-based champion, so that is really good. That's almost 1,400, right? So 1,500, 1,600 is like the highest in the game. So she's literally very high defense, actually. 109 base speed. She's not the fastest, right? Like 113, 114, or 115. But hey, 109 is literally like one slower than Arbiter, right? And she has higher stats, so that's good. In terms of res, she has a lot, which makes freaking sense because when we read the kit, you're gonna see why it's 50, not 40 or 30, and she has no accuracy because, well, you'll see. Let's look at the first form, the support form. Her A1 is Sacred Lance. Attacks one enemy, okay. Heals all allies. This includes herself. The value of the heal is proportional to this. To their res. So this champion's res, and the damage scales off attack and res. Now you might think to yourself, okay, your base attack is pretty meh. It's less than 1,000. You're not going to use her attack. Well, you'll see, but still. And 5% of their max HP. So she heals everyone basically 5% of their max HP, and then res on top of it. Which I wonder how that scales. So is that going to be like, if I have like 1,000 res, am I going to get like a 20% extra to that A1? Because that would be a godly A1 heal. I don't know. I don't have a test server, so that looks insane. Can't wait for a test from content creators to see. Because this is going to be like one of those things I'll be waiting 5 years to pull in Raid. And if I pull this champion, I'm going to lose my marbles. Has a 35% chance of applying a buff spread effect, taking one random buff from each ally and placing on all allies. Beautiful. Like, literally everything is beautiful about this A1. It is amazing A1. Oh, and even notice the heal has an extra 20% there. Oh, snap. That's good. That's a good A1. Alright, let's look at the A2. Symbol of Hope. Removes all debuffs from all allies, so it's a full cleanse, right, basically. Then places a 50% increase attack buff and a 50% increase res buff on all allies, not for 2 turns, for 3. And this is bookable down to 3. Wait, huh? 3? With 3-turn buff and it's a 3-turn cooldown? You're telling me it's infinite? That's crazy. And don't forget, there's also what? That's right, the lasting gifts mastery in the support side, right? That can extend your buffs. So technically they could be 4-turn buffs on a 3-turn cooldown. Also fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%. It's a good skill, bro. It's a good skill. Just a generically really good skill. Now you might be thinking to yourself, why is it not 20% turn meter, 30% turn meter? Because increased res and cleansing is a very strong thing to do, so that's why they had to limit that, which makes totally sense in my opinion. Number 3, her A3, sorry, number 3, Faith Restored. revives a single target, single ally with 75% HP, kind of like Raglan, right? And places an unkillable buff on that ally for 2 turns. Ooh, nice. Okay. Then activates an instant turn effect on the revive ally. What? Okay, so they come back to life. They're unkillable for 2 turns, and they're almost full HP. And they literally get to go next. And this is on a 3-turn cooldown. Wow. That is a crazy A3, by the way. The only thing else that could be more insane is if she reset all their cooldowns. Then, of course, she has a metamorph, which allows you to change you into another form. And her passive is increases all allies' damage against enemies whose res is lower than theirs. This includes her and her allies, right? So basically 15% across the board. That's amazing, right? Amazing for Chimera, amazing for Hydra, amazing for fighting Curse City, amazing for Arena. That's really, really good because she brings the increased res to all your allies. On top of that, she has an increased res in all battles by 80. That's great for Siege. That's great for literally everything, right? So, wow. You're going to get that passive going on a lot. Now, let's look at the active effect. Whenever an enemy is revived, instantly activates the Faith Restored skill on a random dead ally. So, wait. Let's say I have Marius and Joan The Luminant in a defensive team. You have 4 champions. My Marius, I don't have Marius, but let's say my Marius hypothetically kills one of your champions. And then you want you on auto have your reviver like revive your whatever champion that died for my Marius. Right? And my Marius might be dead because of, let's say it's Empress reflex damage and they both killed each other, right? Okay. In that situation, you would revive your Empress, but then she instantly activates her A3 to revive a random ally. If I am only using her and one other champion, that other champion is always going to get revived. So duo teams with her is nasty. Now, of course, you want to make a full man team, right? I'm just saying, be careful if you see defenses with her and another champion. She's always going to bring back that other champion, always. And she's going to give them, the A3 always gives an instant turn. So imagine you go, oh, let me revive my champion. Oh, snap. That champion now is cutting in a turn-based game. They get to go first. Can just change the game. So you have to be careful when you're fighting Joan The Luminant. To when you revive, you have to make sure to revive and she's locked out, like block passives, or no champion's dead, right? So she can't revive them, or you know what I'm saying? Like, be careful, because that seems like you can lose a game instantly. It's like, oh shit, they revived this champion, instant turn, I'm dead, right? So be careful. Also, what if she activates this? Does it go on cooldown? If no allies are dead, instantly activates a symbol of hope instead. Okay, so you have a full team and he revives. It fully cleanses you, puts increased attack and increased res and turn meter boost. So now you can get the passive effect. Wow, that is insane. If there are multiple champions, of course, you can't stack it. The skill will not activate on duplicate copies of this champion. I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. Even if this particular champion is dead. Cool. So that's just the first form. That shit is nice. That's a good support champion. Let's be real. Let's look at the second form, which is her alternate form, which is the I thought the first form was enough. No. This is the holy grail. The Elden Ring of my praise the sun, you know what I'm saying? Alright, let's look at the A1 here. Radiant Blades. It's an AoE that this attack deals single target damage to each target individually rather than AoE damage. Oh, so you have Duchess? Oh, you have like stalwart gear or anything that stops AoEs? Nah, nah, brother. You're gonna take it like it's a single. And yeah, that's damn, right? Ouch. Whenever this champion counterattacks, increases the ignore defense effect of this skill by 5%. So it ignores defense by 5, and every time you counterattack, you get 5 more. And this goes all the way up to 25. As an AoE, what? Okay, that's a free Savage by counterattacking. Okay. Passive effect. Deals double damage when counter... What? And then also it scales off attack, which she now has 1520 attack. Her speed went down. Crit damage went up. Res is still 50. It's not like they dropped her res. They could have dropped it down to 30 or 40. No, it's still at 50. There's multipliers to everyone, of course. That's how it works. So that's going to be nuts. That's a nuts A1. It's one of the kind of craziest A1s I've seen in the game, because people don't realize that most of the time when you build a champion, it's like, oh, I scale off attacker speed or maybe HP and attack, like a Rotos, or maybe like Aphodis that scales off defense and attack by switching forms, which is weird. Or defense HP, right? Defense and HP. So like, it's just very, very interesting to see attack and res. And you don't understand that a res nuker is hard to debuff because they have res. Unless you bring increased accuracy against a res nuker, you're screwed. But she's a res nuker that brings increased res. And a res lead. And her damage scales off both. That's crazy. Let's look at the A2. Pierced by light. Attack all enemies before attacking. Steals 25% of each enemy's turn meter. So basically you can get almost a full turn unless they're in stone skin. This effect cannot be resisted, which means she needs no accuracy. Beautiful. So far we needed no accuracy on any of her skills, which is beautiful because she has 0 accuracy. And it's going to be hard to build a champion accuracy, resistance, speed, attack, defense, HP, and she would need literally every single stat in the game because she's a support and a nuker, right? Luckily she doesn't need no ac. Is her build's going to be hard to build? I mean, you pretty much want to go attack, speed, crit rate, crit damage, and res. So it's 5 stats. You don't want to go HP and defense. If you get those on subsets, that's good, but you don't really want to go those, right? Now you might be like, well, Jay, what if she's gonna be squishing her first form because you're building you attack res? The res will help out, so she won't get debuffed. But you're right. It would have been nice if she got some sort of passive that says based on her attack, she gets like a defensive like bonus or HP bonus by 10% or 20%. That would have been nice, right? Well, let's see the rest of the kit here. The damage inflicted by this skill increases by 35% against enemies whose res is lower than his champion. Okay, once again, she's kicking other people because no one's building res, right? Unless they're supports. And even if you are a support, most supports don't have increased res in this game. No Marishka, no Siphi, no Nyaman, no like they don't bring that. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Also, the fact that she brings increased res will help her against other mythicals, because other mythicals can ignore 20% of your res. They don't ignore 50% of your res. So if you bring increased res and they ignore 20%, you're still getting a plus 30 in a sense, right? Not literally, but that is pretty crazy. 35% on top. Let's go. Then it places a block damage on the champion for 2. This is a 3-turn cooldown that gives her. Can you just imagine an Odin with this champion? Can you just imagine Odin with this champion? Oh, Odin gave me block damage. That's cool. Oh, the block damage is gone. Oh, don't worry. Let me use my Pierce by Light. I got another 2 turns of block damage. Jeez. Alright, let's go to A3. Seraphic Swoop. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Will ignore shield, block damage, and unkillable. Basically, she won't ignore Stone Skin. Will also ignore 35% of their defense against targets whose res is lower than the champion. Do you understand this champion's going to Omega Smack? Everything is ignoring defense or giving her like a huge amplification because her res is higher than other people. And like I said, people are not building res. So she's just going to outscale people. And when they bring like Armands or Fabians or Marius's, they're not going to be able to strip her. If you build her right, you're not going to be able to control this champion. You need unresistible sleep like Siphi's A1. You need crazy stuff like that. You need like a Lady Noelle with Sir Nick on the team to have an unresistible freeze. Like you have to have certain things like that just to control this champion. If the target is killed and has lower res, GG, your block revived. If the target is not killed, she gets an extra turn. And that's on a 4-turn cooldown. Which we understand, if you don't kill the target, that's almost like a 3-turn. You're telling me she's a 1-3-3 in both forms? That's crazy. Crazy. She still has the increased res aura in this one, but let's look at the passive here. Decreases the damage this chimp. So she just takes 15% less damage, basically. On top of all the stuff you can add that to. You can add blast proof, that's another 5%, so that's 20% from all AoEs in the game. That's, what is that, almost that's 1/5 of all damage in the game is done. That's crazy. That's crazy when you add all the masteries and everything else like that, right? Places a protected counterattack buff on this champion for 1 turn at the end of their turn. You know what they did? They looked at this champion. He always places a counterattack on this champion for 1 turn at the start of each round. Places a counter at the end of the turn. They looked at that. Player was like, "Huh, you know, maybe we should give her something crazy." It's protected counterattack at the end of their turn. You might be like, "Why is that good?" Because if you build a slow res nuker, they love to go slow, so that you have to attack them. And if she's going to have the black damage on her, she's going to start, what is she going to counterattack? With her A1. And when she counterattacks, what does it do? Ignore your defense. And what does it also do? Double damage. Bro, this champion is going to be bananas. Literally. I swear if I pull that champion, I'm going to create havoc. In raid, it's gonna be nuts. All right, let's look real quick. Let's look at the new legendary orc that they released, Void Champion HP, Gallet, Son of the Pact. Beheading strike, attack one enemy before attacking, decrease the duration of all buffs on the target. Not bad. Has a 75% bookable to 100, placing block buffs for 2 turns. This debuff is protected when placed on bosses. So is that like good against Amius so he can't convert stuff? Or maybe Faction Wars against the stupid purple boss? Gallon Fury, or I guess Hydra, right? Hydra could be good too, I guess. Has a 75% chance of putting stun for 1 turn and 60% decreased defense. Okay, that is really strong actually. Decrease the turn meter of all enemies without a stun debuff by 30%. Okay, 3-turn cooldown. Very good. It reminds me of Temesia. Temesia the Skinwalker, right? She's a void champion that literally can do the same thing with this skill. Stun, but she doesn't put decreased defense. She puts decreased speed or HP burn depending on situations, right? Or I guess it's HP burn no matter what, and then stun or decreased speed. Yeah, so it's kind of like that, just without the burn. But this time you get decreased defense. And we also know decreased defense is one of the best debuffs in the game. right? And if you're stunning people, that's a really insane good thing, good debuff to do as well, because they can't do shit. And then they're basically going to die. If you have those 2 debuffs and they're not getting cleansed, you're probably going to die. Blood of the Pact removes all debuffs from wild, so it's a cleanse, then heals by 25% of this champion's max HP, and he has 23,000 HP. That's really good. This is on a 4-turn cooldown, places a shield equal to 25% and a fortify on all allies. Ooh, fortify. Okay, cool. So you get a shield. You don't get strengthen, which is reducing all damage by 25%, but a fortify, so they can't ignore your defense and stuff. For every 10 debuffs this champion team receives, activates the Blood of the Pact, which is the A3. Oh, okay, so that's basically what? A Nell counter? Maybe a Nell Cavalax counter, you know what I'm saying? You just, whoop, oh, it's gone. That's crazy. When activated this way, the buffs placed by the Blood of the Pact are protected. Oh, protected shield and protected force. Does not set the Blood Pact on. It doesn't put it on. This is an example of Plarium gave you Plarium gave you the tools to create a problem in Arena, and now they're selling you the solution. This is the solution, man. In HP in all battles aura. Okay, cool. Anyways, that is. I'm not gonna go through Cross Wallbreaker because I already did my forehead thoughts on this champion on my channel, so I'm not gonna go through that again. But those are the 3 champions that were included in this new patch. Oh my gosh, I love Joan. That she's an insane mythical. I think she's bananas. I wish I could actually choose a mythical that I would love to pull. They would make me want to spend, but I'm not gonna, do it. I hope I get her. Hopefully it doesn't take me 3 years to get her. It's probably gonna take longer, probably. Who knows? By that time, Raid might be dead, honestly, by the time I get her. Hopefully I get her. Are you excited about her? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about her? Do you think she's broken? Do you think she needs a nerf? Let me know. Or do you think she's just meh? I'm curious. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.